Okay, Mercury retrograde for Cancer rising. Let's get into it. Let me start by saying Mercury is in Pisces. It does not like Pisces. It is in detriment and it is in fall, meaning it is not comfortable there. Mercury is a sign that's all about thinking, details, practicality. Pisces is like not quite here, big picture thinking, very dreamy. So Mercury feels a little off, a little clouded, a little not like itself, right? So for you, my love, it's going to be hitting your ninth house, which is your house of spirituality, higher learning, travel, belief system. Now, when Mercury goes retrograde, it forces you to review. So analyze, rethink, look back. And this is the area where you develop your belief system, your higher learning, your spirituality. The good thing here is that if you go deeper into your spirituality, you're going to realize what's in the way, how you can go deeper, what's blocking you. However, when it comes to travel, learning, you may feel a little off. So on the spiritual side, you may have a spiritual awakening, which I know sounds really fun, but this will allow you to deepen into it without having all of the trauma that comes with it. Travel plans, Mercury retrograde automatically says travel is going to be an issue, and I hate to say it, but you might have delays, things might not go according to plan. So release a little bit of the pressure when it comes to travel. Understand that you may need to revise your plans in order to be aligned a little bit better with the transits. And again, it's for the next month. So if you have travel plans, give yourself plenty of time, plan a backup, have a backup for your backup, and be okay with things being delayed. You may find yourself dreaming and returning to something you used to love, something you used to love learning, something that you really enjoyed. You may gain clarity around your belief system. So it's not a transit that's going to be bad. It's more a transit that's going to force you to confront what do I believe? Why am I believing this? In my spirituality, what routines work for me? It's very deep is essentially what's happening, but not in things are making sense kind of way. Pisces is going to make it almost out of this world where it won't really make sense, but it'll feel right. Now, as far as the past coming back, Mercury tends to bring back a lot of, past lovers or whatever, specifically because Venus is also in Pisces and it's exalted. I would not be surprised if you have past lovers or mentors come back, but usually people who stimulate your mind, people who made you think differently, they might pop up in the next month. A lot of the conversations you're going to have are going to feel fated or karmic. Pisces has this air of fate or karma where it's oh my goodness, this was meant to be. Don't get too lost in that. Remember, Mercury retrograde is forcing you to revisit. It doesn't mean that the past is coming back to stay. It's just coming back to remind you or shift your belief and your discernment. I will say the good things here is if you are into writing and publishing, this is a beautiful time for you to be very dreamy and come back to your belief system, your philosophy. You may receive intuitive downloads when it comes to your life path. You might feel called to travel somewhere spiritually, take a trip somewhere that's going to connect you deeper with your purpose or what you're meant to do. You may refine your publishing. You may have new mentors come into your life or old ones that bring you lessons that were not finished. Now, on the negative side, which I don't believe in positive and negative, but where you may struggle a bit, obviously travel, be very mindful, travel delays will happen. Misunderstandings when it comes to your belief system and communicating that. When Mercury is retrograde is a little funky. In Pisces, it's already too far, so people may not get it, even though you do. Anything legal may need a little bit of revision, something to circle back on. Remember, it's the North Node sitting here, Venus sitting here, Mercury will be retrograding, and the Sun is also here. So it's illuminating a lot of things. It's going to bring back people and beliefs and things that feel very deep for you. Also, lovers, they may come back. But even though it's a lot going on, it's a really beautiful transit because the North Node, Venus, and the Sun are illuminating the good things. However, Mercury is going to force you to look back on what wasn't working, what is good, what is working, what is not. But it's going to come from a very interesting place because Mercury is not comfortable here. It wants to go into the details. It wants to dissect. You don't get to do that. This is big picture thinking, dreamlike nature, almost sitting on your couch and zoning out and you're having a vision of your life. That's kind of the energy that Mercury in Pisces is bringing. And if you do go into spirituality, this may also be a time where you feel really lost of what is it that I believe? Why can't I make sense of anything? Because if you're used to being a very logical person, this transit is activating the opposite of logic, which is that daydream energy, and you might not feel too comfortable in that. Another thing that could happen is you could over idealize something, like an idea or something that you're like holding on to it, like this is what I believe. Mercury is going to force you to question that and kind of come back to like, why is that? Why are you so gung-ho on this thing when like you could change your mind, or maybe a new belief comes up? You may have a lot of intuitive insights, a lot of intuitive downloads. This ninth house is like your higher learning, your belief system, your worldview is going to change. Your mindset is going to change, but it's because you're going back to look at like what was out of alignment from a very detached perspective, and it doesn't have to make sense. Remember, after the next month, clarity will come. Another thing that's happening is the full moon in Virgo that's happening March 3rd is going to be opposing this Mercury retrograde. So not only are you sitting here in the North Node with the Sun and Venus and Mercury retrograde, when that full moon illuminates on the other side on Virgo, it's going to bring emotional awareness to like what needs to be let go. Perfectionism, having all the facts, all the details, is going to force you to kind of embrace a little bit more of that Pisces nature. If you know this eclipse, wow, words, this eclipse season that we've had in like Virgo and Pisces, these are some of the final pushes on that one. So we're meant to embrace a little bit more of a dreamy energy. And I'll be honest, the world is getting so chaotic. Some advice I would give you here is disconnect a little bit. Disconnect from like knowing too much of the news, because I just see a lot of, and again, let me try to be not biased here, but a lot of propaganda around like the Epstein files and all this other stuff that is clouding your head. And remember, Pisces is already a very cloudy place for Mercury to be, meaning your way of thinking and your mind. So your mind is already a little bit detached, a little bit off, a little bit more on the intuitive side and not the logical side. So you may have a hard time letting go of that structure, but you have to, because otherwise you could literally lose your mind. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying what you're consuming is being amplified with the sun and the moon opposing each other. So this Mercury retrograde, my love, really just give yourself time to be. Don't fixate on any idea. Travel, be okay with it not going according to plan. Trust the nudges, especially the intuition that's going to come out of this for you is going to be like quick downloads. It's just going to drop in your head and you're going to see like the answers to something that you've been waiting for a long time. The only way you'll be disappointed is if you over idealize something or you hold on too tightly to an idea. Remember, Virgo is I'm fixed and I decide and this is what I want and like constantly looking. Pisces is like, ooh, that's a pretty bird. What a gorgeous butterfly. So let it be a little weird for the next month. Your faith may be tested, but I promise on the other side of this, whatever comes up, whatever comes back, whatever you revisit, whether it's a mentor, a lover, an idea, belief system, spirituality, you're going to find that you have refined your vision, your perspective, and your beliefs, and you needed this transit in order to get there. I can go deeper, but I'm going to leave it here. For those who do want to learn, I am hosting astrology beginner classes. We kicked it off last Sunday. The link is in my bio, and we're going to be diving into the signs. So if you want to understand deeper, being a Cancer rising, what does that mean? Virgo and Pisces, what are these transits? Then you want to be in that class. So if you do, link is in my bio. If not, I hope this served you. Let me know how it landed. If you're already seeing it, we've been in the shadow period for the last few days. It's going to kick off officially tomorrow on the 26th. I'm sending you a massive hug because there's a lot of transits. Again, we have this retrograde that's going to last a month. We have the full moon in Virgo happening next week on the 3rd. And we're not done. Like, things are still going to be picking up. I'm going to try to keep updating you week by week so you can kind of breathe through it and know what to expect. But this retrograde season is going to be felt, but it can be a really beautiful transit if you allow it to be. Okay, love you guys.